Okay guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. I'm not doing I'm not doing this video for any particular reason. This is just something that was on my mind because I don't watch TV that much anymore. But I do make it onto Instagram, or sometimes I just like watching other YouTubers in general who don't like watching YouTube. And just when I'm sitting back chilling and watching YouTube with my earbuds in, or I'm going through all the tea pages on Instagram or YouTube, I'm starting to see where a lot of people really don't know who they are. And it's a lot of couple channels, which I really don't understand why people get couple channels going, because I believe here on YouTube it's a bad stigma with couples on YouTube, and eventually either they end up breaking up or they go through their hardship. Even if they come out on the other side, while the couple is going through whatever they're going through, or while the person is going through whatever they're going through, it seems like they're broken, like they really don't know what to make out of what. And I know most of these couples are younger couples on YouTube, and it seems like they just so stuck and so broken. And even when I go on my own personal Facebook page that don't have any YouTubers, they just people around that I know, it seems like if someone goes through a breakup or something happens at their job, they just so stuck, they lost and don't know what to do. And I was just making this video because I'm like, I used to be in that place in my life, and when you get in that place, it seems like no one understands you, even if you're being logical or you're not. It just seems like you're going down through there and you don't know what quite to do. And I think one of the most important steps is for anybody when you're going through anything and it's tough and it seems like it's a hard road and it seems like you'll never get through it. It's important for you to try to find out who you are and who you're trying to be. Now, when you're younger, it can be hard, but it's also easier because you're just starting off in life. Even if you're around teens to 21, 24, 25, you need to find out who you are, because finding out who you are and being truthful with yourself, you will find out where you're trying to go. Now, I see it's a lot of people, you may be a person that has bad attitude, but you don't want to say that you have a bad attitude. Or you might be the type of person that get ran over. And when I say ran over, it's somebody using you, or it's easy to make you do what they want you to do, or you may be a gullible person. It's so many different people in this world. It's the shy person that sits back, it's the loud person, it's the quiet person that has, you know, their outbursts and things like that at times. It's so many different people. It's so many different types of people. And I think it's important for you to find out who you are at that current moment. And the best way to do that is when you are in your toughest spot, or you done had your worst argument, that's the best time for you to sit back, to reflect in a room alone, or I don't care if you have to stand in the shower. When you get in the shower, sit and take your bubble bath. Sit and reflect and think about who you really are. Because a lot of people hear what people tell them, and they let that, it's like they let that motivate them. And that can be a really volatile person. It took me a long time to figure out who I really was. Because for years I had so many people telling me that I was sweet and I'm always helpful and I'm always there, and that's true to a point. But I believe when people tell you certain things like that, sometimes it's to keep you in that spot. And if you notice, when someone is telling you a certain way that you are, it's never because they're like that. Like if they're telling you that you're sweet, they probably been using you 9 times out of 10. Um, it's just find out who you are. That's what I'm trying to say. Your happiness always matter. It A lot of times when people are being assholes, it's something that made them that way. It's something that they seen. It's something that they heard. It may be Now it may just be that they are an asshole just to be an asshole. Now you can't you can't change. I mean, you can't get around that. But sometimes people are the way they are because of things that happened to them in their past, especially if it's an older person. And when I say older, it's almost like I'm talking to my kids. When a person is older, and when I say older, and they may be in their 30s or in their 40s, sometimes even in their 20s, when people have been through so much in their life and they never found a way to actually vent and get that frustration out, or either they may not have anyone to talk to, all that pent up frustration, it makes you who you are. So just think about that. When you're trying to find out who you are and you may get stuck, try to find, or get your sheet of paper or get your phone, tablet, whatever you feel like writing on in, it doesn't matter. Try to think of 3 to 5 words that describes who you are. And just a side note, guys, I love talking. So a lot of this sounds like rambling, but a lot of people understand where I'm coming from because I tend to walk around in stores and I find myself talking to a lot of people. And a lot of people will understand where you're coming from, even if you're in a good mood and if you're in a bad mood, if you're feeling a certain type of way. It's a lot of other people that feels the exact same way that you are. But let's get back on track. You can think of 3 to 5 words that describe who you are. And then list 3 to 5 things that you are really interested in. Like what gets you going when now let these be positive things. When you think of things that piques your interest, try to think of 3 to 5 positive things. Don't think of anything that would make somebody else feel some type of way if they was to see you doing this. Don't do that because that's what you will base your whole life on. Think of 3 to 5 things that really piques your interest, like hobbies and desires. What, for instance, what have you always wanted to be? What have you always wanted to do? And I tell a lot of people this when I'm going and speaking to small groups and different things like that. It's important that you find out what have you always wanted to do, because we live in a world now where anybody can pick up a camera or go on a website. They can create their own website. Things are not like they used to be. Once you do that, describe your strengths and weaknesses. And when you do this, you may want to write it on something. If you're around people that like prying and being nosy, you might want to do this on your phone or some type of device. Or if you write it down on a sheet of paper, just let it be something that's with you at all times. But try to describe your strengths and weaknesses. On one side of a sheet of paper, put your strengths, and on the other side, put your weaknesses, or however you want to write on whatever you're writing on. Don't go crazy. Just try to think of three to five. You really shouldn't have to go any further than that, but if you feel like it and that's what you want to do, hey, go for it. By doing this, you can, it's like you're helping you see you better on a sheet of paper. It's like this is how people are really seeing you. Now, often we walk around and we think that people see us being this certain way, but by noticing your own strengths and weaknesses, these are great stepping stones to grow. Now, you can also write down on a sheet of paper or just think about what have you accomplished in the past? Have you ever accomplished in no matter how small or how big it is, maybe you, I don't know, maybe you cleaned up the clutter that you meant to clean up and you hadn't cleaned up in a long time, or maybe you got your bachelor's or master's degree, or maybe you finally got up the nerve to say how you feel to someone, or maybe you bought a house or a car. Just think of the things that you have accomplished in the past. Now, along with that, think about who helped you. Was there anyone there to help you? Did they seem sincere? Were they actually there for you, or were they just there to be there with you? So if you just so happen to make it any bigger, or it will be a stepping stone for them also. Just put it like that. Now, when you think about that and who helped you, if anybody helped you, if no one helped you, that just means you're a strong person. It doesn't mean that you're not strong if someone helped it, but sometimes it takes really strong people to do things on their own because they know that it won't be done if they don't go ahead and do it. Now, once you put that on your paper, or you think about that, think about who are the closest people around you and how do they help you. And when you think of how they help you, think of if you help them or vice versa. Who are closest around you? Who do you help and do they return the favor? Or if is there anyone that helped you and you never return the favor? Because this can this has a lot to do with finding out who you are and why are you certain ways and different things like that. If you're the type of person that there's people always helping you and you never help back, well, you're a user 9 times out of 10. But if you are a person that someone helps you and you help them and vice versa, it's just you're always there for one another. That's the type of person that you need around you. If you're always helping somebody and they never help and they give you that false sense of pick me up all the time, you need to get from around them. They're not helping you to be a better person. They're just using you. And when you're getting used by anybody to do anything, it's dragging you down. It's think of it as when you move 2 steps forward, you take 1 step back. And just a little side story. I'm always the type of person to help anybody no matter what. I don't complain, even sometimes if you want to do it, if you don't want to do it. I'm not the person to complain. If you find out that you're helping somebody and when you get ready to do something, it's always a problem and they seem to tell you all the reason why that you shouldn't do something, they're using you, And if you think about it, or I don't know if anyone else thinks like I do, they're really messing with the person who you are. Because after so long you help a person and they're not willing to help you back, so that means when you give, they're not giving. So it means it's like a scale. Every time you help them, your side is weighing down a little bit heavier and their side is lifting up. That's the way things are in life. If you're not on an even weighing scale with someone, or either you can be a little bit higher or a little bit lower, but if someone is just giving you all their extra baggage, and when you finally come to them for help, you're so low, you're scraping the ground, and they're so far up they can't hear you anymore. And when you come to them to complain, or you just make be coming to them to talk, they're so high up where you done gave them all your glory, all your little help. They can't hear you anymore. So just think about things like that. Never be a person where you give so much and they throw all their baggage on you until you're so far down and they're so high up they can't hear you anymore. That's almost life in a nutshell. That determines who you are. If you're not around a person that's feeding good energy and you're feeding good energy, don't be around that person. I don't care if it's a friend, if it's a family member, if it's a coworker. Don't be around anybody that you're willing to help. And it seems like they say thank you. They could say thank you, but they just add on more baggage. It's putting you farther and farther away from your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations. You might as well kiss everything goodbye. And after so long, you're going to be to push them up so far into after a while. They could care less who you are, what you talking about, because they're going to have you in their pocket. Now, another thing to think about when you're trying to find out who you are is always find out what your goals are. And I'm going to um, go more into this in more videos. Always find out what your goals are. If you're living and you're breathing, you have a goal. I don't care if you make $1 million a year or you make $10,000 a year. You have goals. And if you don't, something is seriously wrong. As a person, we all grow every day. You need something to feed your brain. You need something to keep you going, because the minute you just sit idle, that knocks out all hopes, dreams, aspirations, your goals, and different things like that. So just find out what your goals really are. And if it's hard to find it, it means 9 times out of 10, you got lost in that type of person that I was just talking about. You've been giving so much to someone else, you lost yourself. And so it's basically, this whole video was find out who you are, find out who around you, find ways to get away from toxic people. Don't ever sit around toxic people. And if you find yourself and you're in a situation now where you're on that weighing scale and they so high up that they can't hear you and you have all their baggage, get rid of it. Get rid of it. There's nice ways to say no. No does not always have to be a negative word, but finding out who you are and finding out what your goals are gets you where you want to be sooner than later. Start planning your future. I don't care if you're a single mom, if you're a single dad, if you don't have a job, if you don't have a cent in your pocket, if you're a college student, it does not matter. Find out who you are, find out what your goals are, and get rid of the toxic people. That's the only way that you're going to be happy with who you are, and that's the only way that you are going to find out who you are.